This is Mari Robeson of Love Lulu Creative, a podcast that supports and celebrates artists and creative entrepreneurs. This is episode number 52, and I'm really excited. Today I have Christine Mason Miller back on the show. She's a very dear friend of mine, and when I started the podcast, she was one of the first people that I reached out to and was so kind to let me interview her when she came out with her 5th book. Now she's come out with her 6th book, Notes from the Rocket, and this book is such a treasure. I just received the ones that I ordered. I don't even have enough good words to say about it. They're all hand embellished. They're truly come from a place of love. And if you were looking for a really unique, non-mass produced gift to give this season that would be supporting an artist and a writer, I highly recommend this as the gift to give, and the link is definitely in the show notes. But I loved what we talked about today. We talked about that and why she chose to self-publish and why it is only available to purchase it on her website. So much good stuff from the very knowledgeable Christine on today's episode that I'm really happy to share with you. And if you are enjoying these episodes, please share them with your creative friends. I'm sure they would find some great nuggets of inspiration and advice that might help them along the way. And if you would consider subscribing, that's also really super too. Okay, so stay tuned now for the really wonderful, I don't even have words for how great she is. Stay tuned for Christine Mason Miller on episode number 52. Hello, Christine. I am so excited to talk to you yet again. Always excited to talk to you.
Such a treat. I mean, we go way back.
Way back.
And I love that we're still having these conversations.
I love that you're still doing all these amazing projects that we can have these conversations.
Likewise.
Well, we're going to talk about your new book today, and it's book number 6. So I wow, a little bit of an overachiever, I think, perhaps.
It does, for some reason, this number does feel different. I don't know why, but for some reason it does. And I'm a little bit like, wow, that's kind of cool. You know,
I mean, I think, what they say, to be a professional at something, you have to do something for 10,000 hours. And I think you surpassed that a while ago.
Right.
Or maybe
but still a lot to learn and do. And, some people, they've written like 50 books. So.
Well, I know you're going to write more too, but this one is really special and it's really different than what I've seen you do before you. So let's get into it. It's called Notes from the Rocket. The first thing I want to ask you, because we had this conversation, you and I, but I thought it was super interesting, is what is the Rocket?
The Rocket is this vintage typewriter. It's called Hermes Rocket. And I stumbled upon it in this little typewriter repair shop in Amherst, Massachusetts, when I was visiting a friend of mine. And I mean, it was literally under a teeny tiny table in the middle of all these shelves with all these typewriters, all different colors and way bigger than this one. I don't know how I spotted this. But I saw it and I pulled it out, and it's this little compact portable computer, which was really the first of its kind when it first came out. No, typewriters were huge before the Hermes came out. And so I loved that, the whole story of it, that this was the typewriter that journalists used and authors used when they were traveling. And that was my love language.
I almost kind of wonder if that was a typewriter from a past lifetime that came back and found you.
Right.
You've been a writer in all of these lifetimes. That's so interesting. And I didn't know that when we were having that conversation before. And it's just so great. I mean, we're actually of the generation where we took typing in school. At least I was.
That's right. I took typing in high school, and I'm so glad I did.
I was really awful at it. Like, I could never type and not look at the keys, but some people could just type and not even look at the keys. But anyway, a gift.
Yeah, it's a skill that has served to be quite useful.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay, so this one you've done publishing, you've been published, and you've self-published. So this particular book is a self-published book, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I love that. And I want to ask you, where can people get the book? Is it only
The
available through
only
you?
Correct. It's only available on my website, which is different from all the other books I've done. Everything else I've done has been available on Amazon, but for this one, I decided not to go that route.
And tell me why. Why did you decide that?
It's not about being anti-Amazon. I mean, come on, I use Amazon all the time. And it's been fine for these other books that I've done, but I just felt like, okay, here's an independently published book. And it's more about, Amazon takes a big chunk of sales, which they need to, that's the way it works.
Right.
But I just felt like if there are people out there who really want to support me, an independent author who has published this on my own, then it's more about this idea of we've become so accustomed to convenience trumping everything. And it's all about what's most convenient. And you just swipe and you get things delivered to your door. And that can be a very wonderful thing. But for something like this, I felt like the people who really want that book will make that little teeny tiny little bit of extra effort, which is really just a few additional clicks when you really think about it. And I just felt like this would also be a good way to begin that conversation, to talk more about this kind of cult of convenience that we've all fallen for, myself included. So it on a smaller scale, it was about just wanting to publish this in my own way and get it out in the world in my own way. And then a bigger kind of mission behind that is to get people thinking about the consequences of our choices. And again, I'm not saying if you buy from Amazon, it's a bad choice. That's not my point. My point is simply, this is a different situation. I'm an independent author. So if someone out there really wants to support my work, then buying it through my website enables me to earn the greatest possible profit. And if I'm earning the greatest possible profit, then I can continue to create and continue to put things out in the world and support causes I believe in, and so on and so forth.
Whew, that's big.
I know. That's my soapbox.
I didn't. That's it. I didn't expect that answer, but I love the answer. And I mean, I didn't put my book on Amazon either. I only sell it through my website, which I feel the same exact way that you do. And I think, there was a point during COVID where Amazon was a lifesaver. I mean, for so many people who could not go out, we couldn't go out and get things. So, God bless them for doing that. But
yep.
Supporting the arts is a whole nother what experience or responsibility, or like, and if we don't support the arts are going to go away. And that's the deeper part of that is so important, that I think I hear you saying from your message on that. Plus, I also felt, and I know this, you feel this way too, I wanted to package my books and wrap them and add my little notes and add all the things. I wanted that personal touch, that it's coming from me and my signature and all the things that make it special to buy from an artist or an author. And I think you're doing something like that as well with your books, aren't you?
Exactly. Yes. Perfect segue. Yes. Once I decided not to sell on Amazon, it really opened things up a lot. And I'm all about the details, and I'm just like you. I love packaging things artfully and giving that care and attention. And so I thought, okay, how could I take this even further? And so what I've done is every single book has these little goodies tucked in between the pages. Things like pressed flowers from my garden. And, I don't want to give away all the surprises, but all of these just little teeny tiny embellishments and ephemera that I'm putting in by hand, which basically means every single book is literally 100% unique. It's one of a kind.
I
And
love that
so
so
it
much.
just, yeah, and of course I wouldn't have been able to do that with Amazon. So it was fun to think, okay, I can really kind of go a little bit crazy with this idea because it's only sold through my website, because it's very limited press run. And I just love putting these books together. I've already done a whole bunch of them. A whole bunch got shipped today. And it's just, it's the kind of quiet little repetitive kind of task and creative task that I love to do. And that's going to go out to someone and hopefully touch them in a unique way, and know that this book was prepared and assembled and put together just for them.
This is just everything to me right now, because you have been that. I've known you for over 25 years, I think. And you will always send, like, whenever you send a card, which is designed by you, there's always a little love note in there, or a little trinket or something, just something that makes you just go, like, what a delightful surprise, and it just warms your heart that there's another human on the planet that cares enough to add a little extra special something to it. And you're all about that. So the fact that you're doing that's truly a labor of love with all of these books is so special and unique. And that's the energetic exchange between an artist and the collector of the art, is that you're sharing not only your beautiful words, what you've written in this creation, but you're sharing the energy about that. It's not just coming in a box, thrown in with some packing, and it's thrown on your doorstep. I mean, there's a time and place for things when you need, but the love and the care that you put into everything that you do it's such a beautiful exchange of energy that's why I bought more than one.
And thank you for that, by the way.
Well, I mean,
I love the way you
gift too. The book. Yeah. I'm sure I'll go back and buy more now too.
I love the way you say that, and that was definitely on my mind as I was thinking about this, because I thought, okay, if I am going to insist that people go to my website to purchase this book, which for a paperback book it's a little bit of a higher price point, I'm like, I'm going to make that worth people's while. Like, I want to reward, like, I want to provide something where they're going to receive it and go, that was totally worth those extra clicks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've always felt that way from artists that I buy from.
I mean, I know everyone's busy. I get it. Everyone's busy. I'm not trying to be critical of anyone at all. That's not what this is about.
I agree.
Just want to spark a conversation. That's all. And make something, kind of off the charts.
Well, I mean, I think it's important, because I remember when I had my little boutique in the village, and people would come in and they would, see things, and they would touch things, and all the love that I put into all the visual displays and how I made it feel when they walked in there, and then the conversations that we would have. And then they would come back and go, oh gosh, I just bought that. Yeah, I bought it online because I got it, I had a 20% off coupon. And I'm like,
yeah. Right.
Like, it was like a little stab in the stomach. It was just like, oh, but are you missing that? Like, if you keep doing that, I can't keep the doors open and put my love into these displays and all of this stuff to give you this experience. So, I mean, that's a different story, but I think the point to educate and for people to understand that when you do the extra little clicks to go to the artist's website and actually support them, that it's so much more than, oh, I can just go get this. It's easier to just get it here. Is it really that much easier? But you get so much more from the experience. Like I was trying to say, that exchange from the artist to you is so much more fulfilling, and for the artist as well.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I love seeing the names of everyone who is ordering the book. Of course, it's a whole lot of familiar names, and, and people leave wonderful little messages and notes. And it really is, it is that exchange. It's not just a few clicks and then, oh, I've ordered a book. I mean, I feel everyone's love with every order that I print out. That's the part of this that I love, is that engagement.
I mean, that's what artists do. That's
right. That's what we do.
But I didn't explain it very well. The point of what I'm saying is that if you don't know, if we don't have this conversation, then people may not have thought about it that way. Where like, oh, I didn't realize like it was that big of a deal if I went over and I bought it from you, or I didn't understand that, if I buy it from this other company, that you're not going to really make any money on it, And so it's, unless you tell people that this is the actual scenario, then they, you can't blame them for going and buying it online, somewhere else, So it's a good conversation to have. Is long-winded answer to where you were talking with that. So the book is dedicated to the seekers, and that's super intriguing. Tell me who the seekers are.
The seekers are people who are looking to forge their own path. And again, I'm not trying to criticize anyone at all, because these things can be super helpful and useful. But I've always been a little bit skeptical of things like, if you do this, then your life is going to be great. And if you follow my formula, everything's going to work out. And those kind of little compact promises. And while I certainly understand that if you've done something in your life that has worked well for you and you want other people to benefit from your experiences, that's a great thing. And I love that there's so many people out there willing to do that. And I've done it. I mean, I've taught online courses and I've put all kinds of books and messages and thoughts out into the world about this very thing. But I like the idea of saying, here are some of the things I ponder. Here are some of the things that have worked for me. And it's not so much, for me, it's not about I did A, B, and C, and then this happened. It's more about I decided to approach a situation from a certain mindset or with a certain attitude, and I moved forward with that. And I'm still on that path and still working on that, but this is what is getting me where I want to go as a human being on earth. It's not about, for me, it's not about, let's just do everything we can to always be happy and have the best life possible. That feels a little bit glossy for me, because life is crazy. And, it's a lot. It can be a lot. And that's not a bad thing. That's what, for me, I think helps us grow and evolve and learn and all those things. So when I say it's for the seekers, it's about that feeling of wanting to seek out one's own path, and that it's not about, okay, I'm going to build my path and then I'm good, but that we're always building our individual path, and we're taking clues from other people in our lives and other people we admire and other books and words and music and art and all of these things, but it's ours, and so the seeking is about seeking out your individual path. And if some of these little notes and thoughts can give you a little inspiration along the way, then wonderful.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that everything we approach, every conversation, every experience that we have throughout the day from our set point. So if there's something that we are seeking about ourselves that we want to learn more about or get better at, we're going to attract those little notes and messages that are going to resonate with us and help us move forward. And I totally agree with like the 1, 2, 3, just to get to there, like that. No. But the little notes here and there is something that will come into your experience when you're ready to see it. And that's going to resonate if you are seeking it, and the answer will be there for you. Wow. So this whole book is about that. There are all these little special messages that you've received and then put down via your rocket into this beautiful little format.
Right, right. And it was a very interesting challenge as a writer because I've gotten so used to, 1,000, 1,200 word essay. I kind of feel like I could do that in my sleep, which that sounds kind of arrogant. I don't mean like I'm just such a good writer. I don't mean that. I just mean I'm comfortable with that particular, with those particular parameters. And I can usually find my way to say what I want to say without too much difficulty. These, however, these are tiny little blurbs. Some of the little original notes, they're in the book just as standalone quotes, but then some others I wanted to write more about them, but I wanted them to stay on one page. So they had to be like 100 words or less. So that was crazy hard. And I liked that. I wasn't expecting it. And I really appreciated like, oh, this is a whole new challenge that I had no idea it was going to be that difficult. But what a great new discovery, like there's this whole new world as a writer that I had no idea was there waiting for me to torment me. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. I totally hear what you're saying. And I can completely relate with writing a novel and now trying to write a screenplay. Like how completely different it is. And like it's a whole craft of its own and like needs its own respect. And it's like, wow, and you think it's great though. That's why we like these challenges, right? We've done so many of other things. And when they get easier, like, okay, what can I do now that's really, really hard? I'm going to write a new book. Right. I'm going to make it have to stick to this format and challenge myself.
Right.
I can't wait to read it. I'm so excited about it. So tell me about the notes. Like, are they like, where did the inspiration come for them? And how long did it take you to write it?
Well, so this all started on a whim. I mean, buying the typewriter was totally impulsive. And then that day I typed this little message and I put it on Instagram and off I went. I didn't say, what can I do with this typewriter? I just typed something and posted it and off, it started. Yeah. So I have hundreds of these now because this happened quite a while ago. And every little note that I type, I don't type a bunch of notes, like here's 10 notes and now I've got my notes for the next 2 weeks. I type each day. Like when I go to the typewriter, I'm like, what's going on in my world? What's on my mind these days? What am I struggling with? What's working for me? It's always about what's happening in the moment. And so it's actually, in that regard, it's like I'm typing myself a message. Like, this is what I need to read right here, right now. This is what I need to keep in my mind right now and focus on or stay rooted in or whatever it is. So it's always about what's happening in my life. So every note comes from what I'm experiencing day to day.
So you could like have many, many versions of this book over a lifetime.
Right. My thinking at the moment is that I'll do 3 of these.
Oh, okay. And then so what's book number 10 going to be? Goodness.
I know. I don't know. I know. I told you that earlier. For some reason,
I can't stop at 6. I need to now do 10.
I know. I don't know what that's about, but for some reason, that's in my head now.
Awesome. Is there a particular note that just feels like just perfect to you, that you just was like, this is, when you wrote it, you just said, this is it. Like, I feel so good about these words. Was there any one in particular, or are they all your children?
I really love them all. And I say that because I really kind of agonized over each one of these because again, because I was working with such a, small area of space. And so these had to be as concise as possible and yet pack a punch. And so what ended up happening is they needed to work for me when I read them out loud. They needed to have a certain kind of rhythm. And that was also a very interesting process. And so if I couldn't get that rhythm right, or if I couldn't really say exactly, precisely, completely what I wanted to say, it didn't go in. And toward the end, I had to get pretty cutthroat. Like there were a few concepts that I was so loving and I so wanted to work, but I just wasn't figuring it out. So I'm like, they got to go. So I feel like I've got a good little collection here.
I love that. I am really so excited. And this is going to be like such a great Christmas gift. The timing of this was perfect.
Yeah. Don't have to wait for a container ship to.
I know, right?
Gosh.
So everybody go order your books right now. So of course, all the links will be in the show notes, but it's available through your website.
Yep. ChristineMasonMiller.com.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Just thank you for always being by my side through this whole journey, through all of it.
Gosh, same.
We've been through a lot together.
Through it. Well, you've known someone that long. You're going to go through everything pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I just so appreciate you having me on your show again.
Oh gosh, I'm so
love
excited.
It.
And I can't wait for the book to come out. And I know it's going to be amazing. And I can't wait for all the little goodies that come with it. So thank you so much again, Christine. I just adore everything you create. And I hope you make more than 10 books. We need your art in the world.
Thank you, honey. I love you.
Oh, yeah, I love you too.